Welcome to the Crockers Unleashed podcast. Here, anything goes. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Crockers Unleashed podcast. And this one is a special one, near and dear to my heart. Jason, why the would you want to live off-grid and not live a normal life? Oh, man. I get this asked all the time. Not so much by viewers because they kind of are like, hey, I'm going to search this video and just assuming this dude wants to live off grid. But anyone that knows me or is getting to know me, they're always just like, why would you want to go live in the woods with no power, no water, barely any cell phone signal, no Wi-Fi, no TV, no refrigerator, no nothing? And really and truly, it boils down to is, I don't want to be around you people. Let's be real. I like to be out by myself. I like to do my own thing. I enjoy the privacy of living out in the woods. Yes, I do have some neighbors kind of close by. I am not just, in the middle of nowhere. Wish I was. But yeah, living this lifestyle is not for everyone, not at all. Today was actually a very nice day today. You could tell no sleeves, and it was in the 70s, but normally wake up and it's in the 20 and 30s, and lately it's been 40s, 50s, maybe 60s if you're lucky. So don't let the awesome sleeveless shirt fool you. But yeah, living out here it's intense. It's pretty crazy. I will probably ramble on and on. So this should be somewhat of a different podcast. I'm not really talking all YouTube. Some of it will revolve around YouTube, but some of it's just the everyday life part of living off grid. I'm going to drink some water. I do have bottled water, and I think that is a big misconception of living off grid. So yes, I do have rain catchment and stuff, but I still drink purified bottled water. I buy it and I normally use it for my coffee, and then I drink water every now and again. I know it's bad, but I normally drink sodas and whatnot. But I do have a water purifier. I do have a small creek stream. It's a wet weather creek pretty much. When it rains, there's water coming down through the little springs and stuff of this hill bottom of the Ozarks. I hate saying that because some people overplay that, but yeah, that's pretty much where we live. Is we're in the foothills of the Ozarks. And so yeah, that's just, I got water, but for the most part, if I do rain catchment and all that, it's for showering, washing dishes, because I'm gonna use soap and stuff like that anyways. But yeah, it's interesting. Let's go ahead and knock it out and get it out of the way. I shit in a bucket. Let's be real. I go number 2 in a bucket, and I pee outside. It's just the way it is. The only time I pee in my poo bucket is when I'm pooing. Or if it's freaking cold outside, it's middle of the night, wake up, and I'm like, I really don't feel like opening the door to take a piss. So I will just use a poop bucket. And when I first started, let's go ahead and dive into this crap, literally. And I would have a bucket, a 5-gallon Lowe's Home Depot bucket, and they're at the end of all the aisles. The blue, the red, they're orange, depends on where you buy them. But I would put leaves and sawdust down in it, do my do, and then throw more and more on top, and it would just build its way up. And then at the end, you could pour it into a compost pile, and after a year, it would be good enough compost to put on your plants, and after 2 years, it's actually good enough to put on your garden, which is pretty crazy, right? You could put your own crap on your food, and it's just like this awesome cycle of like, it all makes a turd, really and truly. At the end of the day, it all makes a turd. So hey, you're gonna eat it, it's gonna come out, it's gonna make a turd. You put your turd on this pile that decomposes, you put your turd back on your food, and then you eat your food. It's this awesome shit cycle that is awesome. I don't know, I think it's cool. But it's totally healthy. People do this all the time. I actually learned this through Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. They're an awesome channel that's been doing this for a good minute. So they have a lot of useful information, and I've learned from them. But yeah, I would do that, and then I don't really have a great water source right now. I for the last year I have used less than 100 gallons of water. I would say somewhere in the like 50 to 75 gallons of water for a whole year, and yeah, that's pretty crazy. So I would have to like put water in the bucket and clean the bucket, the dried up nasty poo on the bucket, and that's just really not that fun when you don't have endless amounts of water just to like spray it out, power wash, whatever. So I started buying camping poo bags, pretty much for the camping toilets, which is basically a bucket with a plastic lid on it. You could buy the bags for it, but it's like $10 for like 5 bags. It's ridiculous. And yes, they're supposed to be really good, but they're small. They don't hold a lot. They're meant for camping. When you're out here and you're like me and you're a real man, you probably poop 2 to 3 times a day, depending on what you eat. It just is what it is. I had the absolute worst stomach in the world. And so I started buying big trash bags, like the 15-gallon bags or whatever they are. It's only a 5-gallon bucket, but you don't have to worry when it's full. When you grab it and you pick it up, it's not going to be jammed back to the top and you're like oozing out poo. You know what I mean? Ooh, that's nasty. So I just get the big ones. They're stretchable, so when you pull them out, nothing's going to bust. And it holds the any pee that's in the bottom, any liquid. But normally if you put enough sawdust and stuff in there, it's fine. Does it stink? Yeah, only when you're taking a crap, and then you're like a cat, you kind of, or a dog, you kind of cover it up, you put sawdust on it. And I've been using cedar sawdust. We have an unlimited amount at the Sawyer's house, so they literally give me like feed bags, like 50-pound bag feed bags full, and yeah, I covered my poo with that, and yeah, and then I go down to a spot that I have and I dump it out, and I'm letting it compost. There's just really nothing else to it. That's the shitty part of off grid. So, and then it's, well, how do you live without a refrigerator? Really and truly, during the winter, you don't need one. You could buy 1 bag of ice with the crappiest cooler you can get, and it'll last a week because it's so cold, sometimes even longer. I have just a little ice chest. It's not really, it's like $10, $15 from Walmart, and you could put a bag of ice and it lasts a long time. When I first moved up, I lived in a canvas tent, a 8x10 canvas tent, and if I had sodas, anything that needed to stay cold but not frozen, I would literally stick it on the edge of my tent and it would keep it cold. It gets, again, 20s, 30s at night. During the day, it gets maybe in the 40s, 50s, maybe. And so, if you set your refrigerator, you're not freezing anything, you're just keeping it cool. So it actually works out amazing in the winter. During the summer, I have to buy ice all the time, and that absolutely sucks. I hate doing it, but it's just the way it is. But the reality is, I try not to buy anything that needs to be cold. You just get so used to eating, from the fridge all the time. You can go to the fridge when you're just in a normal house, open it, and just like any parent, they'd be like, why are you standing there at the fridge? You know what's in there. You don't need to stand there and look at it. So you just get accustomed to that. But when you live off grid, you get accustomed to buying canned foods, stuff like that, stuff that you don't need to be frozen, stuff that you can make that doesn't need to go in the fridge afterwards, like just stuff of that nature. Normally you cook just enough to eat in that moment, and then you either know you're going to eat it like in an hour or so, or, a little bit later. Maybe you make it for lunch, you'll eat it for dinner. You can leave it out. It's not a big deal, but you don't want to leave it out for a couple days. So normally if I have anything extra, I give it to my dogs or goats and I let them eat it. So nothing goes to waste. It's super simple, but I've actually figured out that it's really not that bad to live without a refrigerator. I have done that for roughly a year now, and it's really and truly not that bad. Um, the biggest thing of living off grid for me is I came out here with a $20 Walmart tent, and then I upgraded to a bigger canvas tent, an 8x10, and then I had nothing. I had no storage. I had nothing like that. No sheds, no barns, stuff like that. I have nothing of that nature. Everything that all the land is like this. Literally, there is a flat spot on top, and that's the drive through the middle, and then it just slopes down. So there's very little usable space. So you can't just build like a pole barn. You can't build this sheds. You can't do all this stuff. If you do, you have to have, so say if it's on a curve, the back end has to be on stilts. So it's like that, and you got to level it out. So you got to put stilts, and it's a pain in the butt. You can't do the normal thing. I want to get a shipping container, but first I have to come in and really level out the area and stuff, so that's a pain in the butt. So everything that I have kind of had to live outside, and that's the absolute worst thing ever. So I basically have piles of garbage wood that's not any good. I have piles of trash that needs to go, and luckily there are dumpsters around here, so I throw as much of the trash away as possible. But if it's something that can kind of decompose, like boxes and stuff like that, I don't mind leaving it if I can't take it, because they will break down, and then I can kind of scoop it up, throw it in compost piles, or put it in bags and get rid of it. So it kind of sucks with that part. You don't have like a normal trash service and like that. The water, again, I only do rain catchment, and as of right now, I don't even have gutters. I have one bigger tote, which haven't even filled up, and then I have a 55-gallon barrel that I keep that full, and then I have water troughs. So in front of my porch, I just let the rain fall off into the water troughs. I got 3 of them, and then that's what the animals use. And then the goats and the dogs drink out of that, and then I'll scoop it and go give it to the rabbits. So that's, it's easy. It's really easy. It lasts long enough. It rains often enough here that it fills up, and it's not that bad. I don't have to go to the river or anything of that nature to get it. So that part of it's not too bad. Living off grid with animals, it can get bad if you don't have enough rain, because you need water for your animals. For a garden, you need a lot of water. Unfortunately for me, I live on nothing but rock. Fortunately for me, I live on nothing but rock. So nothing sinks. No matter how much it rains, it never floods. It never floods where I'm at. It floods down by the river really bad. But where I'm at, it doesn't flood. My house won't sink. Nothing of that nature. But the bad thing is, it's nothing but rock, so I can't till it up. I can't have a garden, so I have to have raised garden beds. And I have one right now that's probably like 4 feet by 4 feet, and it was doing very well until my dog dug it up, and then I just let the goats eat it because the dogs ruined it. But so anything that I grow has to be in raised garden beds. So it has its challenges for sure. I am younger. I am 35 years old. Why in the world would you want to live out here and not, in the city and have high-speed internet? Just the conveniences of going to the store. I am technically single now, so it's like dating. You live out in the woods. Why would I want to do that? Why would I not want to go like bar hop and stuff? I've never been really the type to want to go bar hop. I did it for a little bit, but I didn't start drinking until I was 30. So I'm only 5 years into the drinking game, which I rarely drink anyway. So it's not like I was really into that scene. I grew up in the country, so this is kind of my element out here. I absolutely enjoy it. But it is a challenge, especially on YouTube, the YouTube side of things, having to charge my batteries. All of this setup right now is working off my Jackery, which is a solar power generator. It's basically a battery bank. You put solar panels out, and these solar panels will charge it all day. It's extremely slow at charging. It's not worth crap as far as charging. It literally takes days and days and days. So anytime I use my gas generator, I have a Harbor Freight Predator. It's a 3500. It's a super quiet one. I'll probably be doing a review on that soon on the Crockers, but that sucker powers everything out here, anything and everything I need as far as building and whatnot. So if I need to charge anything, I charge it while I'm building and running the generator anyway. So I'll charge my Jackery, I'll charge my laptop, my phones, my camera batteries, everything of that nature. So yeah, I don't have any overhead power coming here. I don't have any water lines coming here. Again, the cell phone signal is terrible, but I do have a Weeboo system. As of right now, it's not hooked up anymore, but when I did have it working, it helped. I was able, as a YouTuber, to go live and stream every week on Friday, and I was able to stream live chats. Uploading is a nightmare. If I'm lucky and the video is short enough, I can upload a video out here. Normally, I have to drive into town, which is a minimum of about 15-20 minutes to go to a small town. But if I need to go to a town with like a Walmart and all that stuff, I got to drive about an hour. I got to actually cross over into Arkansas to do that. So yeah, it's definitely different. This is not a very easy lifestyle. There are YouTubers out there that I like to say they pretend to do off-grid. They don't really live out there. They can drive home. They could, do all that stuff. They can get a hot shower at the end of the night. They can have high-speed internet. They could have a comfortable bed. They could have, either AC, heat, whatever it may be. They could have just an easier way of life. So when they do the off-grid stuff, it's not really that bad, because at the end of the day, they get to go. That's actually, if you can hear it, making the fan noise, that's the Jackery charging the stuff. So, I'm telling you, I'm being legit right now that this is all run off this. So normally I would stop, but I'm gonna let that fan kind of go, and I'm not too worried about it, because hey, this is off-grid, this is a lifestyle, but it'll cut off here in a minute. But yeah, there's a lot of people out there that want to do off-grid. It's just they don't really understand the struggle of it. All right, it turned off, so we're good. We're good anyway. So another thing that is kind of difficult is I am building a tiny house off-grid. So I can't just run to Lowe's or Home Depot real quick if I need, screws, nails, anything that goes with that, any tools, any lumber, whatever. I have to drive all the way in town to get that. I do own a sawmill, but that actually is at my friend's house, Sawyer Ridge Farm, and even that's about an hour away, because they have a bunch of cedar trees, and that's what we're doing. We're cutting down cedar trees and we're milling them up, and a lot of all of the wood on the outside of the house is cedar, straight from milling it and stuff. And then I do, my window trim, I do my cabinets and all that stuff with stuff that I mill up. But for the most part, if I need anything to build this house, I have to go all the way into town. It's definitely a pain in the butt. It's very, very interesting, to say the least, but it just is what it is. And once the house is done and all that, of course, that part of that lifestyle will slow down. You don't have to go to town as much. You definitely need to stock up on food, anything of that nature, to get you through, at least like a week or 2 weeks worth, in case, you do get stuck here. It's like, it's living the country life. It's just, you have even less things, you don't have the real power, you don't have the water or anything like that. But most people my age aren't really looking for this lifestyle, and especially women. I was married, and this was something that we kind of did beforehand. We had a ranch in South Texas, and it really, really tested the marriage, and unfortunately we didn't really come out on top. But it's something that you see a lot of marriages either fall apart or really get tested, but a lot of people see on YouTube and they're like, oh man, living off grid would be so awesome. Like, come on, babe, let's go do it. And it's the worst thing you could do, unless you really, really, really want it and you're really willing to sacrifice everything. And I mean everything you can think of, I would not recommend it for a couple or with kids or whatever, unless you are ready to just do bare bones, pretty much rough it. Now, if you have like a travel trailer or anything of that nature, that does make it easier. It's not as bad. So, I don't recommend anyone living like I did. I mean, I came in and I went hardcore on it. I think most of you guys know because you probably watched the Crockers, but again, I started with a $20 tent. I had nothing. I had clothes, a tent, and my generator, and that was it. I think I had a chainsaw at the time, and that was it. I had no extra tools. I had nothing. I had to come out here, start chopping wood, collect water, do all that stuff. The jackery's kicked on again, so it kind of is what it is. We'll just deal with it. But I had to do all that, and then in the winter, I had to wash my clothes, and holy cow, that is just another thing that is a nightmare. Trying to wash your clothes in the winter sucks because it's not only, hey, you need to wash your clothes, you have to dry them, and in the winter, they're gonna freeze, so it's terrible. So then I'd bring them in. I was in a canvas tent, and I would let them dry in there, but then they just smell like smoke, straight up, instantly smell like smoke. It sucked. But there are a lot of negatives of it, but there's a lot of positives. I absolutely enjoy looking out my windows or being outside and deer coming by, raccoons, possums, armadillos. When I first came up and I was in the tent, I'd be in the little $20 cheap Walmart tent, and coyotes would be coming up right there on the roadway where I was at. I call it a roadway. It's like a path through the woods, but they would be right there and they'd be yapping right next to my tent, and it'd be intense. And I'd just kind of lay there and just be like, all right, well, they'll go on with their day. I seriously doubt they're going to try to attack me. I do have some pew-pews with me, so I'm not really worried about that. But it's just an awesome thing to, have deer and stuff out here. And no, I have not seen Bigfoot, but there's been some noises that could have been Bigfoot. So maybe one day I'll see Bigfoot. I forgot his name. I forgot what they said his name was, like Patrick or something, I think. Yeah, that's like the interesting part, being able to just like chill out, and you hear the birds chirping and all that stuff. It's just very relaxing. Even when it's windy, you just hear the wind going out here. Now that I have the house, like when it's raining, the rain's just hitting the metal roof. My dogs, you can hear them barking right now, but the dogs, I love the fact that I'm off grid and I let them live as natural of a life as possible. I do have fencing for the goats, but I do let my dogs roam. I have talked to the neighbors, and the neighbors really don't mind at all. They actually love the dogs. So when the dogs go over there, it's not a big problem, but they roam this area, and I let them kind of do whatever they want. They get to live such a natural life that, to me, that's just awesome. That's like letting your kids go out into the world and let them do whatever they want, and you're just so proud of your kids. I love the fact that they get to just go out and do whatever they want and just live the most natural life they can. And so another awesome thing is whenever friends come out, or family or whatever, they get to experience this, and they don't get to experience this all the time. So it's always kind of rewarding and kind of a proud moment when they come out and they're like, man, I don't know how you do this, like day in and day out, like you do this all the time. Like they just see a whole different side of you, and they're just like, man, I love camping, but I couldn't do this every single day. So to me, that's kind of like a pride thing. I get to like show them what I do, but then at the same time, they get to see what I do on a daily basis, and some of the things that I have to deal with and whatnot. But that's such a cool thing is, you can let other people experience it as well. And the fact that I'm on YouTube, that's even cooler, because it's not just people that get to come here, it's people that get to watch and, kind of see. And on my channel, I try to keep it as real as possible. That way, like I said earlier, there's a lot of YouTubers that try to make it look like this awesome thing. And reality, it's not always awesome. It kind of sucks. But yeah, all of that being said, do I want most people to try to live this lifestyle and go out there and experience it? Yes. I don't think it's for everybody, but I do think if you want to live this lifestyle, go for it. I would recommend, if you could, go to somebody's house that you can go to that maybe has some land. You know, maybe they have a couple acres. Just go in their backyard for as long as you can handle it. You know, go to like state park, public land, whatever you can do, and stay there as long as you can and try to experience it as much as you can before totally diving into it. But finding land is pretty cheap. That'll be something I'll probably talk about. But what I normally do and look is just get on Facebook Market, search your local area code or whatever, and or zip code, and you can find land for probably pretty cheap. A lot of people buy it and then they realize, hey, I don't want to live this lifestyle, and they get rid of it. At least where I'm at, there's a lot of it, and a lot of people are constantly selling. I don't know. I think a lot of people see these like awesome Instagram photos or YouTube or fake YouTubers, whatever, and they're just like, I really want to do that. Then they find out they don't. So you can benefit from their loss. I know that sounds terrible, but it's the reality of things. And where I'm at, land is crazy cheap. So I've been trying to buy it up as much as I can and do all that. All right, so camera cut off, but hey, whatever. That's definitely this off-grid life, is nothing ever goes according to plan, but you just kind of roll with it. And I think that's a huge thing you learned when you are off-grid. You have to learn to roll with the punches, use what you got, do what you can, do all that thing. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode a little bit more than just the normal, like, hey, this is how you should do YouTube, blah, blah, blah. Jason thinks he knows what he's doing. Listen to him. Yeah, one of those. So if you guys would like more of these type videos, please comment down below and let me know. And then also let me know what you would like me to talk about. I am pretty much an open book. I am willing to talk to you guys about any and all things. I am not closed off or nervous or scared or whatever to talk about anything. You guys know that on the Crockers, Coffee Crockers podcast, everything we do around the Crocker name is we just keep it 100% real. And, hopefully you guys are getting something out of this, but this freaking generator thing is just, this fan is killing me. So I'm going to go and jump off this, and I'm going to throw this out the window, and I am sick and tired of this thing constantly making noises. So guys, we will catch you on the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See ya then.